We are back with head coach Scott Nagy. He joins us here at Postgame. Final score, NES 895, Southern Illinois 77. Coach Nagy's comments are always brought to you by CMC Mitchell and Associates. Coach, I'd like to begin with you where we kind of started our conversation yesterday. You really loved the practice your team had, the energy, the everything they came out with. Just the frustration of not seeing that carry over to the game today.
Well, I've said this before. I don't put a lot of. I just don't. We could have a bad, horrible practice the day before a game and play great, and so I don't put a lot of stock in it. But talking to them, the question was, if I do that, if I cut practice short, if I think you're ready, and then this happens, what message does that send to me? And in terms of being able to trust you and know you're ready, I'm saying put yourself in my spot. And so, you have to know I'm probably not going to do that again because I don't think we're ready to handle stuff like that. And, this was extremely, extremely disappointing.
Samaj Teal was as good as advertised. You guys had trouble guarding him and really their whole team. But what was he doing that was more effective than how you guys game planned that?
I don't even know what to tell you. It was all of them. There were none of our guys that were in a good spot. We started the game, and it's amazing when you can sit there in a huddle right before the game and say, this is what we're running, draw it up, and our guys run it completely wrong. And I knew right then, okay, this is not a good sign. We're not in a good spot. To start the game, we had the ball. It wasn't like they had the ball and we go down, we're running. No, we knew what we were running. We get the jump, and we screwed it up from the beginning. And so, our kids, and I did the best I could to keep their brains away from St. Louis and keep them locked into this because all of these are important. And, this because you want to be, it's just disappointing. I thought we'd be ready, and we weren't.
Coach, I saw, with about 2:42 left, and it was during that coming out of your last time out, you had, I would say, virtually all your team leaders. You had Mayo, Kennard, Ali, all sitting there on the bench, and you were just having a really just a conversation with them. You were down on knee, pretty casual. I don't know if you want to share with what you were sharing with them, but what was your message to them just as this game was coming to a close? Because it just seemed like it was a good conversation that you wanted to relay to point to guys that are going to be absolutely crucial to your success here in St. Louis.
Just to reconnect to them because I was pretty hard on a lot of them, really hard. That's the way I'm going to coach them, and I expect them to be ready, and they weren't. And I said a lot of tough things to them, and so just to try to get back reconnected and get them to understand, in terms of my competitive nature, I want to coach people that are like that, but also that when you don't perform the way we want you to and you don't do exactly what we want to, it doesn't mean it changes how I feel about you and how much I love you and how much I've enjoyed being around you. And we've had days like, you're going to be in coaching long enough, you're going to have days like this. We've had way too many with this team, in my opinion. And I would love to break that pattern. And that's really my biggest challenge right now is how do we break that pattern and get, the Illinois State game that we had versus this. And we've been better on the road this year than we have at home. And so I was excited to go back on the road, but boy, we were bad today.
Coach, there's so many moving parts in this game, and that's part of why we like it. It's part of the misery is why we're addicted to it, I guess. But as we've gotten to know you as a coach and we've watched your success before you got here, we're watching you as we watch this team. I think back in terms of how you've developed your philosophy over the years, but do you find yourself coaching the way you were coached at Delta State?
No, you can't. You can't coach that way anymore. My dad couldn't coach the way he coached. You just can't. People don't. They just can't. They won't respond to it like they used to. You just can't. You have to adapt to the culture. And the culture doesn't allow us to coach the kids, even the way when I was playing, even how I coached 30 years ago. I was much more brutal and much harder, and when I was younger. And so, but, you still try to figure out ways where you can get to their heart. That's the whole deal, is how do we get your heart? And I think if we coached that way now, we would lose their heart. To me, that's the whole deal, is their heart. How do we get to their heart?
Kids still want the truth, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to be truthful, but the words I use are much more gentle. People may not think that, but they didn't see me 30 years ago, or they didn't see the way I got coached or the way my dad coached. But no, I'm going to tell them the truth because I think that's the kindness. I think it's not kind to a player to not tell him the truth. If you're just trying to get him to like it, I'm not interested in that. I want him to hear the truth. And we say this all the time. Bad players want to be left alone. And good players want to be coached, and great players want to be told the truth. And so we're going to tell them the truth. And some of them don't like it, then they don't want to be a great player.
Coach, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Once again, that was head coach Scott Nagy. Join us here post-game. His comments are brought to you by CMC Mitchell and Associates. We'll take a timeout.